What's up, folks? This is Justin from Books, Bricks, and Boards. You do not need to adjust your sets. This is a bonus video. I'm doing this themed video for Halloween, and it's going to be a little bit unique because in this case, I actually have experience sitting on both sides of the screen. You see, I've been a keeper and a player in games of Monster of the Week. This game really caught my attention because number one, I like Powered by the Apocalypse games, but number two, I thought that the concept of being able to use the same game to play Dresden Files, Buffy, or Ash versus the Evil Dead seemed pretty cool to me. Does it live up to the hype? We'll go see. If you are enjoying the content, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. In doing so, you may very well ensure that this little show here gets renewed for a new season. If you have a hankering to get even more behind-the-scenes knowledge, head on over to Books, Bricks, and Boards University Discord and join the discussion. Link in the description. History. Monster of the Week is a Powered by the Apocalypse RPG set firmly in the realm of your favorite episodic mystery and horror IPs. Written by Michael Sands and originally released in 2012, but later revised and re-released in 2015 under publisher Evil Hat Productions. Monster of the Week is a perfect example of the types of games that Powered by the Apocalypse does really well. While not a combat-heavy system, it does admirably in handling an epic showdown of your episodic adventure format, and still manages to very capably handle all the investigative and mystery tropes of the genre. As compared to other games that try to cover the same material, Monster of the Week does so in a much slicker and more flexible style, leaning into its PBTA foundations. Back in 2019, Evil Hat released a compilation of additional rules and keeper ideas entitled Tome of Mysteries, and this past year they released Codex of Worlds, which enabled keepers to run more specific types of Monster of the Week scenarios with setting frameworks covering IP-removed versions of Men in Black, Scooby-Doo, and more. This book included additional team playbooks to allow the players to more closely resemble the teams that they are trying to emulate. Recently, the core rulebook was re-released in a hardcover edition, which included additional content, including much of the new playbooks that were originally found in the Tome of Mysteries. The Playbooks. As with any Powered by the Apocalypse-based game, one of the key elements is the inclusion of specific playbooks that the players will want to use. Well, they didn't fail us on this one. In the newest edition of the core rules, there are 14 playbooks included, covering several tropes of the serialized monster fiction that it is based upon. First up, we have The Chosen, which is a warrior destined to fight the forces of darkness with his or her signature weapon. Based upon the descriptions, the starting playbook, and the available improvements, I could see playing an ascetic monk or Ash in the Army of Darkness with his chainsaw and everything in between. When designing playbooks, I think that this should be the developer's goal, to provide a breadth of experiences while still filling the necessary quirks to fully represent important genre tropes. Next is the Crooked, representing the street smart including character in the group. With a variety of background options, this could be anyone from Jack Burton in Big Trouble in Little China to any number of the thugs that Harry Dresden meets in his adventures. The Crooked gives the flexibility to focus more or less on combat, but will generally always provide some utility related to the background choices that they made. Then we have the Divine, having the ability to be an actual angel or someone that has some sort of powerful and mysterious patron that grants them some sort of powers or resources. This could be the Archangel Michael or Sam Beckett from Quantum Leap. Some really interesting possibilities here. The Expert is one part Van Helsing and one part Batman, benefiting from their specifically useful monster hunting knowledge as well as their secret or not so secret base of operations. They could be seen as the leader of a group of hunters, perhaps. The Flake is the tried and true conspiracy theorist who might have just accidentally fallen into an actual conspiracy. I mean, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Flakes rely on their ability to spot the connections or to leverage their network to get answers. The Initiate is a member of some sort of organization that is dedicated to the removal of monstrous threats, be it the Freemasons or the Illuminati. They will be able to rely upon their order to provide help, but will be equally helped and hindered by the rules specific to their traditions. The monstrous. Okay, now we are getting somewhere. With this playbook, you get to be the monster. Think Blade or just any type of werewolf, ghost, demon, or zombie. By choosing the monstrous, you benefit from the mechanical freedom of representing a wide swath of powers, generally reserved for the enemies. But more than that, you have the narrative freedom to really be whatever kind of baddie you want. The mundane seems to just be a normal old Joe that happened to learn that there are awful things out there lurking in the dark. When you look at the art from the book, they appear to be a plumber with their plunger sharpened into a stake on the opposite end. Super Mario Vampire Hunter, anyone? The professional represents someone that is trained and studying in the ways of hunting and removing monstrous threats. This could be Kay from Men in Black or Mulder from the X-Files, but in any event, they will be able to rely upon their training as well as the resources of their organization while being restricted by their obligations to same said organization. The Snoop could be a PI or even a very lucky YouTuber, just in the right place at the right time. But they will essentially be using their investigative skills to find out more about the threats that they and their fellow players face. This playbook offers a less direct form of play that would likely appeal to the same players that enjoy playing Thieves and OSR style games. The Spellslinger is Harry Dresden. Sure, there are other representations of urban fantasy sorcerers to play with this playbook, but looking at the art and the options, it is clear that this one is drawing heavily upon Jim Butcher's Harry Dresden. That's probably okay, as most gamers are going to be fairly familiar with that particular character. Just don't invoke the wrath of the White Council. Then we have the Spooktacular, which represents a traveling performer that relies upon trickery and genuine knowledge to distract and entertain their crowd. The cover of a traveling show provides the narrative reason to keep the game moving to different areas and always meeting new people, as well as avoiding the repercussions for the actions around your last performance. Staying in theme, we have the Spooky, which is a representative of the main characters in Firestarter or Carrie and can be any with psionic powers. Choices involve the types of powers that the hunter can manifest as well as the different dark forces that act upon them. The last of the playbooks we have is the Wronged. This hunter will be one that has lost loved ones or has been otherwise devastated by whatever force it is that you are hunting. And as a result, they have dedicated their entire life to destroying the ones that wronged them. Think about Ripley from Aliens or Sarah Connor from T2, and you have a pretty good idea of what you're getting into with this playbook. Luck. The hunters all have a very limited supply of luck points, which do not replenish after use. These luck points are incredibly powerful, as you can score an automatic 12 on your 2d6 roll, or reduce all damage from a single source to 0 with a single point of luck. The only downside, when you spend it all, you literally have ran out of luck, meaning that the keeper is free to subject you to all the repercussions of one that has no luck. The core mechanic. For those that are familiar with the Powered by the Apocalypse system, please bear with us here. Monster of the Week's core mechanic is a 2d6 roll plus a relevant stat. Charm, cool, sharp, tough, or weird, which ranges from -1 to +2 initially. Occasionally you will get to add an additional modifier, but more commonly it is just the stat plus 2d6. All rolls share the same outcome structure, with 1 to 6 being a miss, aka something bad is going to happen, like getting hit by the monster or crashing your car. 7 to 9 is a weak hit, meaning that you either get a lesser result than you wished, or you get to do what you wanted to, but with some consequences, such as hitting the baddie, but also taking a hit yourself. 10 plus is a strong hit, which generally means that you did what you wanted with a little potential extra on it, like maybe a bit of extra damage on your attack. Each time you take an action, you will be using a move, which will describe in detail what sorts of options you have for each of these results. The key to get the most out of this type of rule set is to get the players to forget about the moves and the stats and just tell you what sort of cool thing they are trying to do. And then you, as the keeper, go about converting that narrative into mechanical effect and tell them what to roll. One of the more fun aspects of this type of game is that it places a lot of the narrative control into the hands of the players, generally only passing it back to the keepers when they roll a miss. Types of moves. While every playbook has some unique moves that allow them to do cool things that no one else gets to do, many times you will just be wanting to use your plain old basic moves. That's okay because they are broad enough to cover a wide variety of entertaining actions without ever digging into the playbook moves. The basic hunter moves are as follows. Act under pressure. This could be virtually any sort of dangerous and daring activity that requires the hunter to remain cool under pressure, like running through a trapped room, jumping from rooftop to rooftop, or avoiding being knocked off of the horse you were riding when that headless dude hits you with a pumpkin. Help out. This can be a wide variety of activities that would help your fellow hunters be successful in what they are trying to do. It could be spotting for their shot, distracting an enemy, or helping to convince a local constable that there is nothing to see here.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Investigate a mystery. This is your Scooby-Doo skill, in the Monster of the Week equivalent of library use in Call of Cthulhu. This will give you the opportunity to use your wits to learn more about the situation or your adversary. Kick some butt. Yes, I did alter the name of this a bit, as this is a family show, but you can use your imagination. This is your standard fighting move. You use this when it's time to lay hands or lead on the big bad.
Come get some.
Manipulate someone. This is where you are convincing the NPCs that it is in their best interest to do something that clearly benefits the hunters. This skill will be much more useful dealing with NPCs than monsters. Protect someone. Here you have your standard heroic move. Place yourself in the line of fire to save your friend. Makes for great stories, but sure does ruin a jacket when you catch a bullet. Read a bad situation. This move allows you to assess the situation and get more valuable information from the keeper, giving you a potentially advantageous position in an upcoming challenge. Use magic. Depending upon the style of game you're playing, the keeper may or may not decide to allow this as a basic move. It does what it sounds like. You invoke the magical words to give you some sort of abracadabra effect.
Klaatu! Narada!
The Beasties. In most cases, how Monster of the Week chooses to handle this subject would be a massive downer for me. It effectively just gives some types of enemies, monsters, minions, and bystanders, and very little actual mechanical description. Sure, there are a few of the classic staples in there, vampires, werewolves, ghouls, and the like, but with only 9 actual examples, that would be pretty slim pickings for a standard RPG. But this is not a standard RPG. The section on creating threats does a good job of giving some ranges for different aspects of threats, like how much damage they might do and how tough they should be to kill. And with that knowledge and a little creativity, you can pretty well make any baddie you need to on the fly. As an example, the first session of this that I ran, I created a sequel to Big Trouble in Little China, whereby the wild man on the back of Jack's truck got off at the next truck stop and started terrorizing the small town it arrived at.
Hey, what more can a guy ask for?
I didn't tell the players that this was what was happening, but they discovered it as the game unfolded. With the guidance provided, I was able to create a very believable depiction of this enemy on my very first session of the game. On the flip side, in the first game I played of Monster of the Week, a con game in Louisville, I and my fellow hunters took on a tortured ghost that was murdering guests at a local hotel. Were her stats that important? Not really. If you get the story and the feel right, as long as it is not distractingly bad, the stats will be fine. Making a mystery. The designers did a really admirable job of describing the different elements of making a mystery game run and how to implement them in your games. It gives advice on coming up with a concept, which, if you're a fan of the inspirational material, shouldn't be too hard. Then it dives right into getting the players hooked into exploring the story you have prepared, so you aren't just sitting around talking about how you're going to market the grain your characters found in their last session. No kidding, really happened to me in a D&D game. There is a very effective and succinct discussion on using timers and how to roll out threats and events aligned with your timer, which they call the countdown in Monster of the Week. Aside from providing tools for making your own mysteries, there is also a Simian-styled mystery included in the core rulebook titled Damn Dirty Apes.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Really, I can't complain with the amount of information that they provide a keeper to run the game in a way that will appeal to players without creating a part-time job for the keeper. Well done on this. Summary of thoughts. So what do I think about Monster of the Week RPG? I had a lot of fun running it as well as playing it. I'm not sure that it would grab my attention over a long campaign, as the 2d6 mechanic is just a little limiting over time. But for one-shots or even mini-series level stories, I think that I would have a lot of fun running this game. I'd rather use this than Fate to play Dresden Files style games, and that isn't because I don't enjoy Fate. I just think that this system handles all of the abstraction better and in a more mechanically satisfying manner. I would also never use anything else, other than possibly Savage Worlds with the Horror Companion, to play an Ash vs. the Evil Dead style game, as this allows you to try, and sometimes even succeed, at all of the wild crap that players will want to try in that style of game.
Groovy.
And I can imagine that it would be a lot of fun. Perhaps the best part about any of these PBTA games is that they are very simple to teach and rely upon no specialty dice or the players having to really invest anything in the game. They download the free basic move sheet and you print off their Hunter playbook for them, and they have all the knowledge that they need to play a campaign from start to finish with no tables to memorize or 400-page books for them to read. The keeper has to readjust their way of thinking a bit to run a game like this, but GMs are used to putting a little extra effort into their games. Kind of comes with the territory. That's how I feel about this game, but how do you feel? Have you played this or any of the other PBTA games at your table? Do you agree with me that they work better for short-term plays, or have you ran a long-format game with one? Tell me about this or anything else on your mind in the comments. Until next time, this has been Justin from Books, Bricks, and Boards. Good gaming, and God bless.